Welcome back. Navigation equipment maker Trimble reporting a double beat in a strong second quarter. The company also raised its annual revenue and profit forecasts, driven by strong demand across construction, transportation, and geospatial markets. Joining me now is the CEO of Trimble Navigation, Robert Painter. Rob, great to have you. Thank you so much for being here.
Good morning. I'm glad to be here.
So assess the backdrop for us first in terms of the navigation and what kind of demand you're seeing in those areas, construction.
So the biggest end markets we have at Trimble are serving the engineering and construction and transportation end markets. What we're seeing is a secular adoption of technology. As these industries are digitizing, they're needing to change how they work, the tools that they use and they deploy in the office and in the field. And good news for Trimble is that we play in both as we connect that work in the office, the field with the hardware and the software of Trimble that ultimately is connecting the physical and the digital worlds.
Yeah, and we just spoke with Sean Duffy, the Transportation Secretary, who showed off this phenomenal Acela train, which looked so much better than what riders have today. Is that what you're talking about, or is it much more technology focused?
So we're really the technology provider that is enabling our customers to do their work better, faster, safer, cheaper, and greener. In a construction context, it could be vertical construction like the building we're in today, or if we take civil construction, that could be the roads, it's the rail, it's the ports, it's the airports that we're building. And there's really just been a generational investment here in the U.S. Through the bipartisan infrastructure law.
For example, I remember a few years ago when we were talking about 5G, and now 5G sounds so yesterday at a time that we're talking about AI, but there was an issue with buildings that the 5G was not penetrating through the walls and through the buildings the way the old buildings were built. That had to be changed. Is that what you're talking about in some ways?
Well, connectivity is an important part of what powers our technology. If we take a building construction, let's say a vertical building, you're using our technology to design the steel, the concrete, the mechanical, electrical, plumbing work, and you're designing and engineering that down to the level of an anchor bolt accuracy if you're talking about the steel in the building. What you design is what you build, and from those highly accurate 3D models, you're able to estimate the work precisely. You're able to take that model out into the field and do the layout such that when you do the work, you're doing it right the first time. We're helping our customers eliminate the rework that happens in construction and help them deliver their projects on time and on budget.
So what did you think of President Trump naming a new design person in terms of this most recent conversation around construction? He wants a White House design lead.
Well, good news. As Trimble, we have conceptual design software. We have a product called SketchUp. We have over 1 million customers around the world who use our technology. And what you can see actually even from AI these days as we apply it in our SketchUp product is you can use natural language-based prompting to help you do generative design. In other words, produce those designs faster and better than ever. And then we can take those designs and then you turn them into what we call constructible models, models that you can actually build out there in the real physical world.
I love it. AI is changing so much and fueling this rapid growth in data centers. Tell me how Trimble is positioned to support those data centers and what you would expect in terms of new data centers built.
Well, positioned is the perfect word because that is the core of what we do at Trimble, positioning and modeling technologies. So if you're building a data center, you're going to need to have a surveyor go out there and capture a digital model of that physical earth. That's going to turn into moving dirt. And guess what? We have earth-moving technologies through our machine control and guidance portfolio. That design, that engineering of that data center, we're behind a lot of the work on that. It's the project management, it's the ERP systems that our contractors and subcontractors run off of.
And you call it the Connect and Scale portfolio or business transformation. You've expanded your reach in construction and agriculture with Hyundai's new Trimble Ready bulldozers and a partnership with Apex Technologies. What more can you tell us about those kinds of partnerships in terms of growth and where the growth comes from at Trimble in the coming 3 years, let's say?
So over the next 3 years, we put out a model to our investors. We call it 3-4-30. We want to achieve $3 billion in ARR, annualized recurring revenue, $4 billion in revenue itself, and over a 30% EBITDA margin. Part of that growth story means expanding the product reach that we have, as well as the go-to-market reach. And in the releases that you referenced, those relate to our machine control and guidance business, which is civil construction, which is automating that construction equipment we see out in the field. We take a design model and we turn it into a machine model. That high precision GPS on the blade of a dozer grader or excavator, we control the hydraulics. And when you move that dirt, now you're moving it right the first time by deploying the technology. And you can get up to 40% productivity when you do the work right the first time.
What are you looking at in terms of orders and bookings for the rest of the year? What can you tell us as far as the demand picture right now?
So on the heels of the beat that we had in the second quarter, we did a raise for the second half of the year. So we raised our guidance by $100 million for the year. So to about the midpoint of that range gets us to about $3.5 billion expectation for the year. So we've got conviction, and we see that conviction. We see that through the momentum we have in the business as we're growing the products, as we're growing our distribution globally, and we continue to invest back into that business. And a lot of that investment at the moment is AI related.
And these are long cycle businesses, but you also have to consider the short cycle businesses, the field systems and things like that.
Right.
Are you seeing an increase in terms of the money spent on this from corporate America?
Absolutely. So the businesses are performing better than ever in that second quarter. As an indicator, revenue is up 9% for the quarter year over year. The ARR, that subscription revenue, was up 14%. Organically sits now at $2.21 billion. So we're growing, and we're growing at scale. There's a secular adoption of the technology. So while there is a short cycle and a long cycle, fundamentally, these markets that we serve, they're large, they're global, they're underserved, they're underpenetrated, and our value proposition helps them do their work more productively and efficiently, and that sells through any cycle.
Well, it sounds like you are in an incredible moment in time and in this growth story, Robert. We'll be following the story. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Maria.